In this episode, we begin putting her back together. Fuel. Wiring. This thing. Let's go. In our last episode, we sealed up our chassis mods, sprayed on lizard skin sound control and ceramic insulation to keep things cool and quiet, and then finished off our engine bay with a fresh coat of paint. Up to this point, you've seen me tear down, tear apart, strip, cut, beat, weld, and paint. The driving force behind these steps was to prepare our chassis to accept its new drivetrain. We've now reached a critical milestone in our build process. The chassis modifications are complete and reassembly can begin. From here on out, the way I'll be working will change. Instead of one big job at a time, as you've seen up until this point, I'll now have many tasks going on at once, since most of them impact one another while the car is going back together. So things are going to be a little more frantic around here as I quickly jump from job to job. Alright, let's get to work. Our reassembly begins with the braking system components that we removed months ago. Back in goes the brake booster, master cylinder, ABS unit, and lines. Inside, we reinstall the firewall insulating mat and the combination brake pedal and drive-by-wire gas pedal assembly. Next up is the massive factory wiring harness. This time around, we won't be installing the engine portion of the harness, which conveniently unplugs from the rest of the giant unit. Before tossing this back into the car, I had to spend a few minutes refreshing my memory on where everything goes. This is where over-labeling things really pays off. Although I may look a little befuddled here, I had it all sorted out in no time. Oh, and reference pictures I took before I yanked it all out months ago were a huge help too. It's just so easy to forget how things are routed and where all the little clips go when the months go by.
I feel like I'm birthing this thing. Oh, I think I see the head. There we go.
Before we bolt the engine and transmission assembly in the car for good, we need to install a shifter. To handle this important job, I chose the Hurst Billet Plus High Performance Shifter. It features a billet aluminum base and stop collar, high ratio pivot mechanism for shorter throws, adjustable bias springs for tailoring stick tension and adjustable gear stops. It also includes detailed instructions and all of the hardware and accessories needed for an easy install. Since this shifter is designed to be used in 1993 to 2002 Camaros and Firebirds, the long shift handle won't work for our setup. What will work is this shift lever adapter from Flying Miata, which allows us to use our stock Miata shift knob and places it at the perfect height and location. So we'll remove this lever for good and install the Flying Miata adapter later on. Installing the shifter on the transmission is easy, and the included instructions are detailed and easy to understand. You start with a bead of sealer, follow it up with the included bolts, and then torque it all down. Our hungry LS3 525 has an appetite for gasoline and plenty of it. Feeding this beastly V8 requires a significant upgrade to our fuel system, so let's get to it. For this vitally important job, I chose the V8 fuel kit from Flying Miata. In typical Flying Miata fashion, this kit includes every single item needed to do the job. And every item included in the kit is of the highest quality, which translates to long service life and reliability. The kit includes a quiet and reliable Getrag 300 series fuel pump kit, which flows 340 liters per hour or 90 gallons per hour, which is more than enough for our LS3, and would support future modifications, if one were to want to do something like that. The kit also includes these ready-to-install stainless steel braided -6AN lines, this stock Corvette fuel filter and regulator combo, all of the necessary fittings to adapt the AN lines to the Miata and LS fuel components, and finally these rivet nuts and cushion clamps to route the lines properly. Alright, let's go. In our last episode, you saw me coat the gas tank in lizard skin ceramic insulation to protect it from hot exhaust parts that will be nearby. I only coated the bottom and sides though, mainly to keep the pump access area nice and clean. So this is where our fuel system work begins. We start by removing the stock pump assembly from the tank. This is always a good time to inspect your tank to make sure there's no rust or other troublesome gunk in there. You'll see here that the Miata came with an in-tank fuel pressure regulator, and that won't work for our setup, so we'll remove it. Now it'll act like a regular fuel return. Next, we remove the stock fuel pump and, oh man, looky what we've got here, folks. Mitsubishi, yeah. Now we install the new fuel pump in the stock spot and adapt the new plug to the Miata's wiring. With that done, we reinstall it into the tank and button it up for good. Next, we install these Russell AN fitting adapters to the feed and return outlets, and then screw on our new fuel lines. Early on, you saw me remove the Miata's entire fuel system. This has cleared a path for our new system, so let's get to bolting it all in. First up is the tank. With that in place, the next task is to prepare our Corvette fuel filter regulator combo. This involves installing AN fitting adapters on the inlet, outlet, and return. To mount the new filter in the car, I'll be using these rivet nuts. They are really handy and easy to install. You just drill a hole, insert the riv nut, and then use a rivet gun like this one to press it in. What you end up with is a strong, flush-mounted home for a bolt. Alright, let's do the same on the car. Perfect. This is as far as we'll go with the fuel system for now. There are some other jobs that need to be done first. A couple episodes ago, you saw me test fit our V8 Roadsters frame rails and transmission crossmember. Well, with the engine now in place for good, it's time to install these parts permanently. First, I installed this exhaust support bracket from Flying Miata, and then torqued it and the transmission mount down. Next came the crossmember, and then mounting it to the frame rails. Now we use each frame rail as a template and drill our mounting holes. Here you can see how they bolt through the floor. Next, I took a little break from that job to install our differential assembly. Before that, you may recall that we added this fitting for the differential vent. To finish this off, I added a length of hose and a factory GM vent cap to the end of it. Now this setup is ready to be tucked away into its new home. Okay, back to the frame rails and crossmember. It's not a good idea to drill a bunch of holes in your car without protecting them a bit, so I unbolted the frame rails and sprayed undercoating on both sides of each hole we drilled. With that dry, it's time to bolt it all back in permanently. So here's how it all turned out. With the wiring harness and carpet back in, I can finally get some rest around here.
You know, I'm not sure why, but getting this carpet in here feels like a really big accomplishment. Maybe it's because it's starting to feel like a car again. Alright, enough of that. Get back to work.
In an earlier video, I showed you the Corvette Z06 air intake kit from Flying Miata. Back then, we also modified the front end to make room for it. Now with our mods sealed up and painted, we can do a little more work to fit this monster snorkel in place. Following the detailed instructions from Flying Miata, first up we'll cut these tabs off. A hacksaw makes a quick, clean cut, and I like to use a piece of masking tape to help keep my cuts nice and straight. Finally, a file smooths it all out nicely. Now we connect one end of the accordion hose to the throttle body and the other end to the intake. Next, we can determine the final position and mark the mounting holes with a punch. Now we'll drill out a couple holes and put some rivet nuts in place. Nice. Finally, I threaded in some long 6mm bolts to see how it all turned out. Looking pretty good to me. There's more work to be done to make this fit, so we'll come back to it later. A couple episodes ago, you saw me bolt on some shiny new headers. They looked great and were working out pretty good while sitting on the moving dolly, but not so much in the engine bay. This is the sort of thing that you have to expect with most any car project where you're combining all sorts of different parts. To fix this, I chose Flying Miata's LSX conversion headers. They're designed for a perfect fit, offer tons of clearance in the Miata's tight engine bay, are constructed of stainless steel, and come with a lifetime warranty. Now, if you're looking for maximum performance, V8 Roadsters does offer a high-quality set of 1 3/4 inch long tube headers for LS-powered Miatas. I may end up going that route someday, but for this version, let's call it Thunderbolt 1.0. These are a great all-around choice. I'm also going to slide on these V-band clamps that I got from Summit Racing to see how they fit under the car. My hunch is that the ground clearance may be an issue, but we'll find out in a bit. Alright, let's bolt these on. It would have been ideal to install them while the engine was out of the car, but I was past that point, so on they go with the engine in the car. Installation on the driver's side was really easy. I just slide them up from the bottom and bolted them up. On the passenger side, the starter had to be removed, and then installed as the headers are being slid into place. This worked out well as it gave me a chance to tidy up the starter's heat shield for a more snug fit. Let me tell you, it's these little details that take so much time on a build like this. I probably spent a good hour on this heat shield alone. But my goal in pining over these small details is long-term reliability and as few issues as possible down the road. After sliding everything in place, I torqued down the bolts and then reinstalled the dipstick. So how did those V-band clamps work out? Well, doable, but they're hanging a little low. I think I'll opt for a slip fit here and put these V-band clamps to good use elsewhere in the exhaust system. Thank you for watching, and thank you to Summit Racing for help making this series possible. In the next action-packed episode, we're installing suspension upgrades, bolting in the driveline, and tackling everyone's favorite job, wiring. For more pictures and details on this build, check out my website at v8mazda.com. So with that said, thanks again folks, we'll see you next time.